The Real World. Chapter 5. New Friends. The next day, Michael was drawn to a quaint cafe nestled across the street. Its charming outdoor seating and gentle hum of chatter created an inviting atmosphere. He settled down at a small round table and placed his guidebook beside him, hoping it would lead him to hidden gems in the city. As he savoured the delightful aroma of the croque madame he had ordered, golden and perfectly toasted with a sunny side-up egg atop it, accompanied by a glass of rich red wine, he noticed a man seated alone at a nearby table. The man's gaze drifted over the people passing by, with a contemplative air. Dressed in a striking blend of modern and vintage styles, the man stood out from the crowd. He wore fitted dark blue trousers complemented by a tailored blue waistcoat that harkened back to a more elegant era. A pocket watch rested on the table, glinting in the sunlight, while a grey fashion scarf was artfully layered around his neck, giving him the aura of a true European. The man sat at a round table with a bottle of deep red wine resting alongside a small antique book, its worn leather cover showing signs of age. While Michael couldn't quite make out the title, he caught a glimpse of graceful letters curling in an elegant script, piquing his curiosity. As Michael savoured the last bites of his meal, he picked up his travel guide. Out of the corner of his eye, he noticed the man glancing at him. With a neutral yet dismissive tone, the man spoke in a captivating British accent that carried subtle hints of other languages, his words dripping with amusement.
You know, those guides are a waste of time.
Amused and somewhat curious, Michael turned his head fully to meet the stranger's gaze. A soft chuckle escaped his lips, rich with enthusiasm.
A friend of mine told me the same thing,
he replied, recalling Brian's well-meaning advice. The man's lips curled into a knowing smile, revealing a hint of mischief as he took a measured sip of his wine. The liquid swirled like garnet in the glass. Michael's gaze was drawn to an exquisite anchoring glinting on the man's finger.
Your friend is wise,
the man said, his voice smooth and captivating.
If you truly want to experience Paris, you must delve deeper, otherwise you'll waste your time flitting between gift shops and tourist traps.
With curiosity in his eyes, Michael reflected on the day he had just spent.
What would you recommend I visit while I'm in Paris?
He asked, his voice filled with genuine interest as he sought to uncover the secrets of the City of Lights. The man's face lit up.
Well then, why don't you join me for a glass or two of this delightful claret?
His spontaneous invitation felt enchanting, weaving an almost magnetic charm around Michael. Without hesitation, he gathered his belongings and slipped into the chair opposite David, who promptly signalled for the waiter with smooth, confident movements, asking for another wine glass.
My name is David,
he said warmly to Michael, his name flowing off his tongue like a melody pronounced beautifully as David. David was an engaging figure of average height, yet still someone who effortlessly caught the eye in any crowd. His fashion sense was not just about clothing, it spoke volumes about who he was. His use of textures and patterns blended elements that might seem contrasting, but came together in a delightful harmony. His boldness and creativity in style mirrored his adventurous, open-hearted view of life. With his brown hair lightly tousled in a charming 19th-century flair and striking blue eyes that sparkled with intelligence, David radiated an effortless charisma that made Michael want to know more. Every aspect of his presence brought a sense of intrigue, inviting connection and conversation.
And you are?
David inquired, his eyes sparkling with interest.
I'm Michael,
he responded, matching David's warm demeanour. David leaned back in his chair, a smile forming at the corners of his mouth.
So, you want to see Paris through the right lens?
Michael nodded, a determined glimmer in his eyes.
Well, the first step is to part ways with that guidebook,
David declared, gesturing subtly to the travel guide in Michael's hands. Michael glanced at a nearby wastebasket, took a decisive breath, and tossed the book away, the sound of it landing echoing with newfound possibilities. David leaned back, gesturing animatedly as he spoke.
Don't misunderstand me. There are countless places that both seasoned travelers and curious tourists can appreciate equally. But it truly depends on how they perceive them. Take the Louvre, for instance. It is a magnet for tourists eager to glimpse its iconic art, yet it also draws in locals and genuine wanderers. Tonight, a friend and I have a private tour after 11 p.m. Imagine having the entire museum to ourselves. What a difference that makes in how we absorb and experience the art.
Michael listened intently, his curiosity piqued by David's enthusiasm. David leaned forward again, his eyes sparkling with interest.
Have you been to the Eiffel Tower yet?
Michael nodded, a smile spreading across his face.
Yes, just yesterday.
David raised an eyebrow, intrigued.
Did you dine at Le Jules Verne while you were there?
Michael shook his head.
No, I just wandered through the levels.
David chuckled softly, shaking his head.
That's precisely what I mean. You saw it for sure, but did you really experience it?
He paused momentarily before continuing.
The guidebooks are filled with lists of must-see attractions, but they often fall short of teaching you how to truly appreciate them, building connections with locals, soaking in the atmosphere. And diving into authentic experiences is where the magic lies. So, tell me, how much time do you have on your hands?
Michael's eyes brightened as he shared that he had a one-way plane ticket and a 3-month rail pass, granting him the freedom to roam wherever his heart desired.
Then, for heaven's sake, don't waste this golden opportunity. Embrace the world in all its richness, my friend.
David encouraged passionately. Just then, a striking woman approached their table, her presence radiating warmth. Speaking in English with a sultry French accent, her words flowed gracefully through the air.
Making friends again, David? We?
She asked. David chuckled heartily and replied,
I guess you know me all too well.
The woman then turned her gaze toward Michael. Her emerald green eyes were piercing yet warm, as if she were looking deep into his soul. A playful smile brightened her face as she extended the back of her hand to him.
Je suis Jeannette, enchantée.
She purred, her voice as velvety as the night. Her accent was subtle, hinting at her fluency in English, allowing her words to flow effortlessly. Unlike others Michael had encountered so far in Paris, she seemed easier to understand. After a brief moment she gracefully sat at their table while David waved over the waiter to order a glass for Jeanette and another bottle of claret. Michael introduced himself and was immediately taken aback by Jeanette's beauty. She was an enchanting woman in her late 20s, radiating confidence and allure. Her raven black hair cascaded in soft waves down her back, framing her captivating face and accentuating her sparkling eyes, which held a hint of mischief and depth. Her lush figure effortlessly drew attention, with well-defined curves celebrating her femininity. Each of her movements exuded grace and sensuality, from the way she walked to how she interacted with those around her. Her warm, inviting skin was often highlighted by subtle tones that enhanced her features. Jeanette's natural beauty was complemented by her playful sense of style. She chose outfits that accentuated her silhouette while remaining sophisticated. With a charming smile that could light up a room, it was easy for Michael to feel attracted to her, though he tried to hide it. She wore a long black dress with lace around the sleeves, and a hint of dark green that shimmered slightly with her movements. David asked her,
Would it be okay with you if Michael joins us tonight at the Louvre?
Jeanette cheerfully replied,
Absolutely. Zed more, Zed merrier.
Taken aback by this announcement, Michael interjected,
How do you know I want to go? I might already have plans.
David laughed slightly, a hint of mischief in his tone.
Of course, you want to join us. And as for those so-called plans, you were just sitting right there, thumbing through that guidebook like it was your lifeline.
He gestured toward the wastebasket. Michael bowed his head slightly, accepting this, and murmured,
That's fair enough.
They then dove into conversation, sharing bottles of rich, velvety red wine that enhanced the vibrant atmosphere of Paris. At one point, Michael inquired about their backgrounds. Jeanette smiled softly and replied,
I am from Paris.
David, however, gave a more mysterious answer.
Here and there.
Michael sensed an undercurrent in David's words but chose not to pry further. He recounted the winding path that brought him to the City of Lights, which led him to discuss Brian's philosophical musings about the real world. David leaned in closer, his voice filled with intensity as he spoke in a low, deliberate tone.
Your friend Brian is correct to a degree. There exists another realm beyond our immediate experience, a realm filled with wonder and contentment, where the soul finds nourishment and peace, provided the individual accepts who they are. However, before you can hope to enter this realm, you must first embark on a journey to uncover the true essence of your soul. Yet, there's a critical point where Brian's perspective falters. Not everyone is destined to dwell in such a sanctuary. Many souls, due to their intrinsic nature, may not be suited for such a life. The world is a vast tapestry, richly populated with a multitude of souls, each characterized by their own unique traits, much like the infamous scorpion in the timeless parable of the turtle and the scorpion. This story serves as a poignant reminder that, much like our inherent inclinations, individuals often resist profound changes to their fundamental character and can only rely on their nature.
Michael furrowed his brow in contemplation.
Do you think I am the type of person who can experience this realm?
He asked, searching David's face for clarity amid the uncertainty. David's eyes sparkled with a hint of wisdom as he replied,
We shall see. We shall see.
Leaving Michael to reflect on his words. As the sun sank, David informed Michael that he and Jeanette had errands to attend to before their later rendezvous and provided him with the details of where to meet them. Once alone in his room, adorned with dusty wooden beams and a charming window overlooking the rooftops of nearby buildings, Michael took a moment to rest. Anxiety washed over him. He was about to meet two people he barely knew for a special tour. According to the museum's website, it was supposed to be closed at that late hour, adding an air of intrigue to the evening. He chuckled to himself, thinking,
Well, I wanted an adventure.
Feeling a blend of apprehension and excitement coursing through him, Michael relaxed, sitting in the armchair and staring at the zinc roofs of the buildings next to him. Around 10 p.m., he took a shower and slipped into a pair of well-fitted black slacks and a dark blue button-down shirt. Checking his reflection in the mirror, he felt a flutter of excitement. Tonight was not just any outing. It was a chance to explore the wonders of the Louvre after hours.